My name is Camryn Allen. I'm a research marine biologist at Pacific Islands Fisheries Science Center in Hawaii. And I do a lot of sea turtle research out in the Pacific Islands region. We do a lot of data entry and analysis, trying to figure out how to conserve sea turtle species around the globe, but particularly in the Pacific Islands region. Sometimes I get to go out into the field and interact with sea turtles, which is really fun because they're pretty amazing creatures. But for the most part, my day-to-day is working on the computer and or collaborating with my colleagues and discussing research topics and trying to come up with the next good idea to help conserve sea turtles.
I noticed you got some props around you. What's that turtle? What are these turtle shells? Or maybe you can tell us a bit, hold those up and tell us a bit more about them.
Yeah, so this is actually a green sea turtle, or honu in Hawaiian, shell. The turtle was actually from Midway Island, which is in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, and it was from 1969. And you can see this is where the spine would have been, and then these are where their ribs connect. So very similar anatomy to a human, where they have a spine and some ribs. And this would have not been an adult turtle. This would have been close to adult size, but not quite adult yet. And you don't know the sex of sea turtles until they reach sexual maturity, because the males will have an increase in hormone production, which will make their tails grow longer. So if you see a turtle that's bigger than this and they have a long tail, it's going to be a male. One of the interesting things about turtles is, of course, you can't figure out their sex until they reach sexual maturity externally. But when you have turtles, for example, this size, which is actually a hawksbill sea turtle, and you can tell it's a hawksbill by the shape of its beak. When they're this size, you can't tell their sex. And one of the ways that you can is by looking at testosterone concentration. And if it has more testosterone, it's a male. And so we're finding that potentially due to increasing temperatures, we're getting more females into our populations, which is producing a female bias. And we're very curious how that may impact the populations. Of course, more female turtles means more babies, but we're wondering at what point maybe there aren't enough males to maintain genetic diversity within the populations. So we're studying sex ratios of little turtles like this size to figure out what's happening in the populations now. And then we're also studying the sex of little tiny hatchlings when they're produced on the beach. This is just a stuffed one. I don't have a real one. But we're doing a big working group trying to figure out how to sex hatchlings internationally, because you can't use genetics to figure out the sex of turtles yet, because they don't have sex chromosomes like humans do. So they don't have those XY chromosomes for you to figure out the sex by a molecular method. But maybe soon we will be able to figure that out. So climate change is impacting sea turtles by increasing temperatures, producing more females, because turtles have temperature-dependent sex determination, where warmer temperatures produce more females. So that's one of the climate change aspects we're looking at. Another thing we're looking at is habitat loss due to climate impacts. One of those being when the water temperatures are warmer, you have storms that come on faster and stronger, so much so that the storms are very intense and they can do some damage pretty quickly. So for example, in 2018, honu, or green sea turtles in Hawaii, had their main nesting beach impacted by a hurricane. It completely obliterated it, but since then it's come back together to be about half the size it originally was. And we're talking about 3 football fields in terms of size of that island, and that's where half of the Hawaiian green sea turtle population lays its eggs. So we're concerned that they're laying all of their eggs in one poor quality basket. So we're trying to see what the turtles are going to do now that they keep losing a lot of their nesting beach habitat. So we have been ultrasounding turtles in the main Hawaiian Islands before they make their migration 500 miles from here. So this is the track of a Hawaiian green sea turtle, or honu, leaving her foraging ground on the north shore of Oahu, migrating to her nesting beach. It took her about 3 to 4 weeks to get there, and it was about 500 miles each direction. So you can see she's making her way there, tacking back and forth like a sailboat, trying to hone in on the magnetic cues of the beach that she was born on. So she's heading in towards Lalo now, and it's that sort of embryo-shaped blue low-lying atoll in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands. So far, turtles are adapting where they're laying their eggs. They're not all laying their eggs on East Island, but they all still are laying their eggs in that main atoll. So we're wondering if they're going to adapt and go some other place, but the next closest location up in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands that they could swim to is another 800 kilometers away. So it's another huge swim for them. It's not close. So it's energetically demanding for them to make that first migration, but then to have to continue on, it's going to require a lot of energy to do that. This is NOAA's Science on a Sphere at the Pacific Islands Fisheries Science Center, where we use the sphere to show data for interesting species that we manage. In this particular animation, you can see loggerhead sea turtle tracks, and they are overlain on temperature of the water, with warmer colors being actually warmer, so red and orange are hotter colors of the water, and so green and yellow are a little bit cooler, with blue being the coolest. And the turtles have an affinity for a certain thermocline, and you can see them moving within the temperature to stick within the green and the yellow bands, and they tend to avoid those warm and cool areas. And we have developed a tool called Turtle Watch to allow us to help predict where turtles will be. And then the fisheries can also use that tool to figure out where they want to fish to make sure that they don't inadvertently capture loggerhead turtles because they're in that area that they like, which is the warmer waters that may overlap with where the fishers catch their fish.
How do you think climate might play a role in how these might affect migration over time?
It's possible that as the sea surface temperatures increase and make it warmer in temperature, the turtles may move further away from those warmer temperatures to find that thermocline that they really like, meaning that the turtles will follow it, and it could go further north away from the equator where it's more likely to get warmer in those areas. So moving towards the higher latitudes, so the turtles might follow those there. It's also possible that the fisheries are targeting may follow that thermocline as well. So they may all move together at the same time. Honu Count is a citizen science project that we're asking the public to let us know where they see green sea turtles in Hawaii, either on the beach or in the ocean, with white alphanumeric numbers on their shells, so we can get a really good idea using the public's provided data on where sea turtles like to forage or where they like to hang out on the beach.